Right guys, we have new tidbits regarding the iPhone 15 series, ranging from no Touch ID to, of course, differentiation between the two Pro models. So let's begin with Touch ID. So Gurman tells us that while Apple has been testing this, we are unlikely to get Touch ID with the iPhone 15 series. And this makes sense, because since the debut of Face ID, Apple's been touting this as a superior form of biometrics than Touch ID, so reintroducing that on the flagship iPhones would be Apple sort of accepting defeat and admitting that Face ID might have been the wrong move. Now, of course, during the iPhone 12 and 13 cycle, there was COVID, that was still very prevalent, and so Apple could have used that excuse to give us Touch ID back. But with that no longer being a massive issue, I doubt Apple can use that as an excuse to give us Touch ID on the iPhone. And I guess Apple did not want to use that as an excuse because it would be a short-term hardware solution they would be stuck with, and Apple ultimately took the better route and gave us Face ID with a mask. And yeah, that's my main reason as to why I don't think we need Touch ID, because Apple has now fixed the main issue Face ID had, which was not working with the face covering. Apple's now allowed that. You can now wear a mask and also use Face ID, so yeah, this is perfect as is. We don't need another form of biometrics. And yes, I know some may argue that Touch ID is more convenient, but to be honest, with the 14 series, I have noticed Face ID is slightly better and does work at wider angles, and so yeah, I think Face ID is more than fine for most consumers. And ultimately, Apple's not one to give us options, and so yes, Face ID is going to remain as the main biometrics the iPhone has. However, Gurman does suggest we could see Touch ID on the iPhone SE4, which does make sense. I think Touch ID's purpose from now on is going to be differentiating the low-end models with the high-end models. Apple does this with the iPads and the iPhones, and I would not be surprised if future high-end Macs do also adopt Face ID to, of course, create a distinction between the products. But the flagship iPhones getting Touch ID and Face ID does not make sense, and to be honest, I'm perfectly content with Face ID on the iPhone. However, I'm not content with the news that, of course, Apple is going to differentiate the Pro models and give us more features with the max size that they might call Ultra. So yes, Minchi quote in a recent report does double down on this. Essentially says the 14 Pro Max has made up 60% of the total orders for the iPhone 14 series. That's a significant amount, and this is going to benefit Apple because it's going to increase the average selling price, and so Apple is going to capitalize on this and give us more features with a bigger size. Now, what kind of features can we expect to be exclusive with the Ultra? Well, of course, Periscope zoom has been a rumor for the 15 series for quite a few months, and I think that's going to be an Ultra exclusive, not only because Apple won't stop sell consumers, but also physically I think there's no space in the regular Pro because it is a pretty compact device. And actually, looking at the Android market, a lot of smaller phones don't have Periscope zoom. It's the larger Androids that always have it. And so yes, I guess having this differentiation makes sense. However, I'm more frustrated with the fact we could see other exclusives with the Ultra next year. For example, a new design that, of course, could be the beginning of a new design cycle for the iPhone. So yes, in case you weren't aware, we have 3-year design cycles with the iPhones. iPhone 12, 13 and 14 share the same chassis, and so the 15 should get a redesign of sorts, and that's expected to be similar to the iPhone 4 design that, of course, John Prosser showed us. And with the redesign, we're supposed to get titanium, which of course is going to be stronger and also lighter, so these are very nice upgrades, but they're going to be Ultra exclusives. And so yes, it's likely the regular 15s and also the 15 Pro sticks to, of course, the current chassis we have with the 14 series. And the differentiation doesn't end there because we could see double the storage and 2 front cameras with the Ultra. Now that part I'm not sure about, but either way, even more camera features for the Ultra apart from the Periscope isn't great. There is also talk we could see even thinner bezels, resulting in a bigger display on the front. And so yes, apart from the Periscope zoom, which of course I do understand there are size limitations, but apart from that, we should get all the other features on the regular Pro. Because ultimately there are consumers who want the smaller size but with all the pro features, and so forcing them to go with a bigger size they do not want is not a great idea in my opinion. I mean, Apple did this with the 12 Pro where of course the Pro Max had exclusive camera features, there was some backlash for that, and so with the 13 and 14 Pro series, the features are the same between the two sizes. And yes, I totally understand the business perspective behind this. As I've said in the past, consumers are upgrading less often, so of course, to get them to buy the most expensive iPhone when they do upgrade is going to increase Apple's profits. But as a result, the regular Pro is going to be an awkward middle child that has some features over the regular models, but is also inferior to the Pro Max. So yeah, we shall see how the reception is to that. Oh, by the way, I thought I'd mention this, but there are sketchy reports regarding in-display cameras coming with the 15 Ultra. Now, I doubt this because if you've seen reviews of the Fold 4, you know the selfie camera on that does suck in terms of resolution because it's under the display. Now, of course, since that is affordable and you can use the rear cameras instead, that's not a massive issue, but for an iPhone that, of course, is a slab, the selfie camera is important, and so I doubt we're going to see that. In fact, Apple's going to be very late to the party when it comes to in-display cameras. Apple's definitely going to wait till the tech matures, and there is virtually no difference between in-display cameras and, of course, regular selfie cameras we have now. And I do want to mention, I don't see the actual cutouts we got with the 14 changing for a few years. Apple kept around the notch for 5 years, and so I do see this sticking around for a similar time frame, and so that's why I'm still doubtful about dual cameras on the front, since that would increase the size of the island on the front, and that would be a regression from the 14 series. Anyways, for those wondering about Type-C with the iPhone 15s, the EU has now passed a law to make USB-C standards on all smartphones by 2024, so of course, that basically does confirm that Apple's going to give us Type-C across the iPhone 15 series. Now yes, there is a chance that Apple only gives European iPhones the Type-C upgrade and then of course, the rest of the world sticks to Lightning, but to be honest, with other countries also passing laws on making Type-C the standards, I think it would save Apple a lot of hassle to just give us Type-C for all iPhone 15 models. Plus, with features like ProRes and ProRAW on the Pro iPhones, having Thunderbolt would be a major upgrade and a major selling point for those iPhones. Anyways, that's about it guys, but of course, tell me your thoughts regarding these reports in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video link above on details regarding the iPad 10, and on that note, see ya peeps.